Hey friends, welcome to Type 5 and Anger Enneagram Workshop series on anger, and I've had so much fun doing this series, and I think you guys have too. So I'm excited to get into Type 5 today. Yes, I am in my car. We've got a global pandemic going on, so kids are everywhere, everything is closed, and my car is now my video studio. So welcome. We're gonna get into 5's now. And 5's so interesting because 5's, first of all, are just not comfortable with emotion in general. They're not comfortable with any emotion. And in order to express their anger, they'll have to feel it pretty intensely in order for it to kind of slip out of the gate and be actually shown and seen by other people. And when 5's do express their anger, it can feel very uncomfortable because it's very vulnerable for them to express any emotion. And it makes 5's feel like people can see what I'm feeling. People know that I'm angry. And that can feel just extremely uncomfortable for 5's. So at most costs, almost at all costs, they will try to hold in their anger. And oftentimes what 5's will do with their anger is they will try to make it go away with their brain power. And 5's have so much brain power, so for the most part, they could probably do a good job of making it go away with their brain power. And what 5's can tend to do with anger is ask themselves, is this anger rooted in facts? Is this anger rooted in truth? Is this anger rooted in something that is illogical? And if it's not rooted in something that's logical, then I'm going to detach from that emotion and I'm going to choose not to be angry about it. If this doesn't make sense, then the emotion will disappear. Then I will just disappear this emotion. And that's awesome. That's an awesome gift that 5's have. Their gift to the world, their holy idea is disconnection with emotion, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a disconnecting from emotions so that they can have clarity of thought. That's the gift that 5's bring to the world, and so they do this often with anger. This doesn't make sense to be angry about. I'm sure you've heard that quote, if it won't matter in 5 days or 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it, something like that. I'm probably butchering the quote, but basically, if this isn't going to be a big thing in your life, then don't get upset about it. I am very certain that a Type 5 must have said that quote, because that's exactly what a 5 would think. Does this make logical sense for me to feel angry about it? If not, delete file, I'm done. Type 5's though, when they're angry at themselves, so there's kind of two different angers, anger at yourself and then anger at others. And both of them, as we've talked about in previous videos, anger is like this alarm system letting us know that our internal worth is being attacked. And so if 5's worth is based upon their competence, 5's need to be competent, and they feel like their safety and their worth is based on their competence, then anything that makes them feel incompetent, if they feel like I messed up, I made a mistake, I did something wrong, I wasn't fully researched or prepared or whatever. I mean, they would rarely get into a situation like that, but if they happen to be forced into a situation like that, then their anger would probably come back towards themselves. I'm angry with myself for allowing myself to be in a situation or to being forced to be in a situation where I didn't show up as competently as I would want to. And so 5's, when you do get angry, do some work around that. And just like I've shared my own situations with anger and my situations with anger, when I get curious about it, it always roots down to that basic need to be impressive, to be successful. With 5's, it's probably going to be a similar thing. Well, with every type it will, but 5's get curious. Is this anger rooted in me feeling like I wasn't competent, or people could see that I wasn't competent? When you can recognize that that's the base reason for your anger, then you can start using that logic and saying, is that actually true? Do I actually need to be competent in order to be loved, in order to be a valuable person in society? Is my value rooted in something outside of me, or am I valuable just because I am? Do I need to be competent all the time? Or can I trust that there is a safety and a love available to me apart from what I do, apart from my competence, apart from being the expert. As soon as you can release that need, 5s, that will help greatly in moving forward and being able to release that anger. When 5s are angry at people outside of themselves, usually it's going to revolve around this person is presenting themselves as an expert when in reality, they're an idiot. Nothing will make a 5 more angry than an idiot parading as an expert, especially if that 5 is the actual expert and actually knows what's happening in this situation. And so, you know how I talked about a 5 will sort of logically determine, is this worth me getting angry about? Well, if a 5 makes that determination and it ends up being, yes, this is worth me being angry about, this fool parading as an expert is hurting people or leading people astray or causing harm to people that I care about, then if a 5 says, you know what, this is logic, this has basis, there are grounds here for me to launch an attack, to become angry at this person, then you better watch out. Because 5s, when they are in security, when they are secure on the basis of where their anger is coming from, it's on facts, it's on truth, then they will move and take the energy of a type 8. 5s take that energy of the type 8, and 8s are very aggressive, very assertive, can be very cutting in their words, can be very just external manifestation of that rage happens very quickly for 8s. And so when a 5 feels that strongly, they will definitely let you know. They will definitely assert that strength. The cool thing is it's always coming from facts and clarity of thought, that gift that 5s bring to us. So 5s, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with bringing that anger out when it's justified. And I think you'd be like, yes, I know, because I've already done the calculations to decide that this is the right place and time to bring out my anger. But just being aware that when that anger comes out, it can come out with the ferocity, the ferociousness of an 8. It may be shocking to some people around you, and maybe shocking to yourself even. And just being aware, okay, let me make sure that I'm feeling this in my body, but I'm also not disconnecting my thoughts at the same time. 5s are disconnected from their bodies. They're doing repressed. So before it gets to that point where the 8 energy comes out and the body engages and the assertiveness comes out, 5s do need to be aware that holding that anger in and simply trying to figure it out all the time may not be healthy. If you feel vulnerable and exposed when it comes out, it's okay. Get into a room by yourself, scream in the closet, scream in the shower, bang things when no one can hear you. I've just been repeating this over and over and over again for every type. You've got to feel, process, and just release the body to process that anger, to get it out, because it can be really harmful when it's held in, and it can end up coming out in ways that we would wish it wouldn't. 5s are all about control, and so making sure that you allow for that anger to be expressed will actually help you have greater control over it and not get it to the point where it's just overwhelming because it hasn't been dealt with. So those are my thoughts on 5s and anger. I'd love to hear what you think. If you're a 5, I'd love to hear how anger manifests in you, what makes you angry. This has been such a fascinating conversation to have with the whole community over this topic that we often don't want to talk about, but we all have got anger. So I think it's really fun to go there. Thanks for coming along with me. And tomorrow we'll talk about 6s.